Hell yeah.
Classes in session, this is the show where knowledge is profit, just so you know. Army Piper, OC guy, and Trade Fly, bringing crypto news to the whole alumni. It's the word on the market, the one-stop shop for the info you need every time that it drops. The go-to show that you need right now. This is Piper Academy, it's all going down, let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Piper Academy. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be taking a look at these bleeding markets. Bitcoin, everything is dumping right now. FOMC fear has officially grabbed every investor by the throat and is in charge right now. We're going to be looking at that. We're going to be taking a look at some articles. Did Saudi Arabia just dump the US dollar for all oil purchases on the global reserve? Guys, we got a lot to jump into. Let's get it. Classes in session. Hey guys, welcome to Piper Academy. I am Army Piper. We come at you every Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the news, the charts, and the markets. So we've got to unwrap a lot today. We're going to go ahead and bring on my co-host because I don't do the show by myself. I got two amazing TA analysts, first and second place champions of Trade Wars in the house, OC Guy and Trade Fly. What's up, fellas?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm on vacation. I'm at a casino in Oklahoma, leg 4 of my entire vacation trip, and I had a pretty good win yesterday. I'll show you guys that in a second here. But if you didn't see it on X or in the Discord, you got to check it out. I kind of broke the machine, I think. So, OC, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Not much, really fantastic. Today is going to be a great day, and I think that a lot of opportunities might be coming up to our doors as long as we can flip up the ribbon at the bottom of the channel and add many of coins. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see. I mean, everything is kind of red. You're doing fantastic, better than the entire crypto market. So congratulations on that one. But yeah, pretty excited for today to see maybe what positions we can get into it.
Yeah, we did. Eric Wallace said, "Did you use a stop loss at that casino?" No. When I came to the casino, I did not put in more than I was okay with losing, and I only spun the machine once. So I sat down next to my wife. I had been at the craps table, was up a little bit over there, and then I came over and sat down next to my wife. She was playing a game, and I sat at another type of machine, another gaming system, and played like $20 on that. And I was like, I want to go sit next to my wife. This is why you go and you spend time with your wife. Want to be around your wife, because I went over to sit next to her and put in the money, hit a $2.04 bet, 204 credits, and I hit it one time and it popped up the super cycle automatically on the first trade, and then on the first bet, and then I hit the button and it spun the wheel and it stopped on the grand prize. So yeah, it's like, here, I'll show you. Jump over my screen real fast and I'll just go ahead and pull it up and get this out of the way. There it is, guys, right there. $5,434 actually ended up, because there was free games. So I still had free games going that I hadn't even played. Ended up being over $5,500. So it was a good bet. And you can see right there, there's my bet, $2.04 and won $5,500 or something like that. But go back to TriCam. I got to tell you guys how this plays out. I went ahead and paid, because when you hit a jackpot that big, they come to you and they go, "Hey, would you like to, you got to pay your tax. You got to fill all this paperwork out." And they go, "Would you like to pay your taxes now or pay them at the end of the year?" And I went ahead and paid them now. My federal and state tax combined was over $1,500 on $5,500. So, but hey, $3,992, I'll take it. It's definitely paid for this trip that I've been on. So let's give a shout out to the people in the audience. And Trey, I'm going to pass it over to you, because you are the man when it comes to watching all of those names in there. So
the shout out guy, I got it. Mr. J, first in the chat. What's up? Blackie Chan, how you doing? Alexander G, the best mind in the house. Crux of Crypto, our guy, part of the team. Eric Wallen. Yes, we might see your chart today. Piper is back. So Crypto Pollo, Cluck Cluck, how you doing? Warrior 4588, my fellow aviator. Harp, how you doing? And he said he's getting kicked over to Miss Teen Crypto. So if you guys are having that issue, let us know. See if it's just Harp. If not, maybe, like I said, just try to clear your cache and hopefully that'll fix the issue for you. Magnum DeFi, he's in the chat. Mike Play, how you doing? Mahabit Nazarian, how you doing? And Chart Prime. Oh, how you? Hey. You got your man OC and Army Piper in here, and then John Foster Crypto. How you doing? That's it.
Chart Prime may have something big coming up. Just so you guys know, keep an eye out. We may be doing a promo for it here on the show coming soon.
You know
coming
I'm
soon.
a fan.
Coming soon to a YouTube channel near you. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in, and if we're gonna pass it over to OC. OC, go ahead and pull up your Bitcoin chart. Let's talk about what you're seeing on Bitcoin. I'm going to go into the YouTube studio editor and see if I can stop that from kicking people over. So,
Absolutely.
What are you seeing on the charts there?
So, basically, just keeping track on the Wyckoff chart. Let me just bring up a little bit of the quick update. This is basically what we're talking about, the SOS being this all the way up here. Remember, I was expecting a little bit of a pullback, and did happen to this trend line. We finally broke out of that trend line. Let me just remove that image so we can see it. And we are right here on this channel, right? So let me just mark it for you. This is the top of the channel. This is the bottom of the channel. This is the center of the channel. Well, this is the center of the channel. And then we are looking for a bounce. Remember that this is not new. We were talking about this, I believe, 2 days ago or Friday. Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And finally, we are almost there. So I have prepared a position, right? I haven't yet opened it, but I'm looking forward to go a little bit lower in this area. I think that we can make it, though. Remember that I do have my alerting here at 66,388. So just to round it up, 66,400. We are on the oscillator almost at the bottom. We have a couple of golden boxes here. I want to see the flip of the rebound before I commit to this area. While, yes, we are into a big support. And if we bring up our VPVR, let me just bring it up very quick. Let me see if I can have it. There we go. If I bring my VPVR, we'll see that in these areas, just shortly below this where we are right now, we can see low volume, big reaction area. So that is telling me that we could be stepping on smart money territories. So far, I will be waiting for that flip of the rebound, but getting very ready to maybe get into a trade here. I'm very excited, and this opens up a opportunity to look into other coins, especially those ones that are into big support for a possible scenario of an entry for a long. Still not there yet, but that's what I'm looking for.
Absolutely. Yep. And I got that all set up, so you guys should not be getting kicked over. We will go in and set that up right before the end of the show. Let's go ahead and jump over to my screen. Let's go ahead and run through our morning economic update, guys. Right now, fear and greed index on Bitcoin is sitting at 74. We are sitting at greed still. If we jump over into the crypto bubbles, you guys can see a sea of red here on the daily. Jump over to the hourly, starting to get some green in here, but nothing to write home about. Guys, it's not looking super strong right now, but Bitcoin's still holding at $67,000. Not a bad thing. Ethereum still holding at $3,500. We are starting to see a little bit of upside movement here on the hourly, but again, nothing major. What is the big movers today? Let's go take a look here and see what we got. Looks like Bitcoin Cash down 4.8%, Near Protocol down 4.5%, Polygon Matic. By the way, Near Protocol, I am actually looking to set a dollar cost average entry on Near. I'm actually super bullish on Near for the cycle. So I'm going to be setting some recurring buys, and wherever it's at that day is what it's going to get bought at. Do that on Coinbase. It's a pretty handy little way to pick up some more without having to worry about the chart. Just like, for example, if it's $5 a day or $50 a day or whatever your price line is, just set it up to go daily and you'll pick it up regardless, get a nice average entry. It's a good way for me to add some more near protocol, but it's down 4.5% today. So may look at starting that today. ICP, I did one of those on the auto buy, recurring buy on a daily basis, and it's down 5.1. So should be picking up some at a good price today. Render down 8.4. Guys, it has lost 2 positions here. The AI play lost 2 positions down to number 30 here on the chart. And I think that is about it in the top 30 here, top 40. Looks like Kronos is down 5.1, so Crypto.com's native token not doing too hot there. Let's jump over, take a look at the liquidations, guys. In the past 24 hours, we've had a whopping 75,335 traders liquidated. Total liquidations coming in at $195.9 million. We'll call it 196. Who's splitting hairs there on that? Largest single liquidation happened on Binance. It was Ethereum, 6.6 million bucks. Let's jump over, take a look at the economic calendar, guys, because this is what's really happening. This is what is moving the markets right now. People talk about manipulation and, whales, and at the end of the day, guys, it's this. It is the economy. This is what moves markets, right? So looking here, we got a 10-year note auction today, guys. This is for the 10-year Treasury yield bonds. If you guys don't remember, the last time we had the 10-year Treasury yield auction and it didn't do well, markets reacted poorly to it. So keep an eye on that. That's today at 12 o'clock. That'll be 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Jumping down to tomorrow, though, this is the big stuff. And this is the whole reason for the thumbnail. Got Jerome Powell in there 2 days in a row. Gave you guys a warning yesterday. Watch out, because markets sell off on this news, waiting to see what the Fed Reserve says. And what they're saying right now is, guys, they are looking at core inflation tomorrow being neutral. This is going to be the last bit of data that the Federal Reserve, who's actually in session today and tomorrow, it's a 2-day thing, they are actually going to be seeing this tomorrow morning. Also, if this comes in higher than 0.3, then the Fed Reserve is going to have to seriously buckle up and do some moves that are probably not going to be friendly to the markets, guys. I'm hoping to see the core inflation here come in neutral or below. That would be very bullish for the markets. And then we're going to get this year over year. You can see here on the year over year, it actually is down 0.1%. And before everyone barrages the comments and talks about those numbers are manipulated, yes, we all know that. However, the investor market still uses these numbers for their sentiment gauge, and this is what's going to either pump the markets or dump the markets when this data comes in. We're looking at inflation rate month over month, expected to be down. So, guys, cross your fingers that this comes in at decent numbers for us tomorrow, and that will pump the markets. Then maybe we can get Jerome Powell to be a little bit dovish tomorrow and not be so hawkish. And if that is the case, then we might be okay. If not, we could see some dump tomorrow on these numbers. When those numbers come out, it's going to be at 2 p.m. It says 1 p.m. on mine. I'm in Central Time right now. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Jerome Powell and the Fed interest rates will be released. He's going to put out those numbers, expected right now to stay the same, pause, no cuts, no increases. And then the one that really does the number on everybody is this Fed press conference. It's going to be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 30 minutes after those numbers come out. And this is where Jerome Powell will stand up there and answer all these questions. He'll give a here's where we are as a Fed Reserve right now. This is what we're looking at. This is what we're watching. These are the things that we would like to see for us to cut rates. These are the things that will make us increase rates or go higher for longer. That sentiment, that statement is still playing strong, higher for longer from the Fed Reserve. That's going to be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. So let's jump over to TriCam. Let's talk about real fast about these numbers tomorrow. So what do you guys think? Like yesterday, we talked about it, had a very short show yesterday, and I said, look, we're likely going to see some dumpage, guys, brace, because if we do get a pump, it's going to be short-lived, and then it's going to pull right back, and that's pretty much what we saw happen. There was a slight little movement to the upside, tick up, and then dumped right back down. Thoughts, TradeFly, is this, are we going to see more of this? Is this going to be pain all week long? Is there more pain to come? We'll jump into the charts here in a minute, obviously, to talk about that, but what's your sentiment right now on it?
Yeah, as expected. We've been talking about this since last week that we thought that once FOMC was coming, there was going to be a little bit of a dump prior to. That has been the trend. You guys just go back, look on the chart, see when the meetings are, and you'll see between 48 to or 24 to like 48 hours out of those meetings, you'll see a pullback. And then once the meeting hits, depending on the stance of Papa Pow, you'll start seeing some movement, whether it's going to be hawkish or dovish. So far, I think the past couple, we've actually seen price action go up once he started speaking and then continue that pattern up and right after the meeting. So keep an eye on that. But again, tune in, listen, or look on Twitter, do what you got to do to actually consume that news, see if he's hawkish or dovish, see what he's saying about our interest rate cuts. I'll say I'm kind of up in the air on whether we're going to get the cuts or not, just because we have mixed data going into it. So we'll see what line or what side of the line he falls on with that. I will say, in conjunction with pulling back a little bit, we did have some liquidity sitting there. So we'll look at that after we kind of talk about this on the TriCam. But there was liquidity that just got cleared out with today's move this morning, essentially when it came down to current price area. So.
Absolutely. OC, your thoughts on this? What are we going to see in the next 24 hours? Are we going to see more pain and dumping until he starts speaking? And are we going to get a rally? Are we going to get a rally this time when Jerome Powell speaks? When the great, powerful Oz behind the green curtain speaks? What are we going to see?
I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm a little bit doubtful on what might be happening, especially because of one of those news that you shared with us at the beginning of the show. You haven't presented it yet, so I don't want to ruin it. But something might have been playing out and cooking in the background, right? I mean, I would like to say that we could be out of the green, but if we take a look at it, Dixie, we're breaking above the dynamic reactor. We have a strong signal right there, and it seems like we want to keep rolling up, right? So that might be a little bit scary for this upcoming week. I don't think that we're going to see a major movement, like something to really worry about, but still, I do believe that we're going to be seeing a little bit more pain throughout the market, especially on the crypto market.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's jump over to my chart. Let's get into that article that you just referenced. I'm going to start off looking at the Dixie guys because there's some stuff going on here that you need to understand that affects not just Bitcoin but all of the markets. The Dixie had a nice little pullback here on Friday, and it was a decent one. It just came back and it hit this daily close, had previous support back here, ranges that were resistance that are now support, did a retest of that breakout, and then is continuing up. Now, why could this be happening with the Dixie? Well, some major news came out that not a lot of people are picking up on. Excuse me. Guys, Saudi Arabia, the petrodollar, they exited. This has been a 50-year deal with the United States. The financial world is bracing for a significant upheaval following Saudi Arabia's decision to not renew its 50-year petrodollar deal with the United States, which expired Sunday, June 9th, 2024. Let's go down and take a look. The lapse security agreement signed by the United States and Saudi Arabia on 8 June 1974 established two joint commissions, one on economic cooperation and the other was Saudi Arabia's military needs. And it was said to have heralded an era of increasingly close co-op between the two nations. American officials at the time expressed optimism that the deal would motivate Saudi Arabia to ramp up its oil production. By the way, give you a hint, they haven't. They've cut it. They're actually trying to squeeze the price up. They also envisioned as a blueprint for fostering economic collaboration between Washington and other Arab countries. By the way, that didn't work either. The crucial decision to not renew the contract enables Saudi Arabia to sell its oil and other goods in multiple currencies. So they haven't picked a set currency, but OC has a take on that one also. We'll give that one a second before we talk about it. They haven't said we're going to go to Chinese yuan or we're going to go with euros, nothing like that. It's just instead of being exclusively U.S. dollars, they're actually open to all currencies now, which means nations, for those that don't know, we'll explain this. I'm going to break it down Barney style. All nations that wanted to buy oil from OPEC had to take their currency, change it into U.S. dollars, or they had to hold U.S. dollars, and then they had to buy that oil with U.S. dollars. That is no longer the case. Pop quiz. Tradefly and OC guy, what is the number one export of the United States?
Services.
What is it?
I said services.
OC, do you know? Do you know what the highest is? Let
I'm
me know in the
going for
chat.
beautiful people.
Beautiful people. No, it is not beautiful people. That is Switzerland. The number one export of the United States is the U.S. dollar. 62% of all U.S. currency sits around the world, not in the United States. So that is something that is probably not going to be needed anymore. They're probably going to be sending a lot of that money back to the U.S. central banks. Guys, when we get a big flux of U.S. dollars coming back into our country, what do you think is going to happen to our inflation rate? You think it's bad now? This is some of the stuff that's going on in the background right now that not a lot of people are tracking. That is also causing, at the same time as all the Federal Reserve stuff, causing a shift in sentiment. There's a lot of fear going on right now. Let's take a look at what the outcome could be of this. The latest development signifies a major shift away from the petrodollar system when the U.S. decoupled its currency from gold and it anticipated the hastening of a global shift away from the U.S. dollar. The big one, guys, the big one that they're talking about here, and it's actually on this article here. Bitcoin price prediction when the U.S. Saudi petrodollar deal ends. And this is, I don't know that this is going to happen, but it would absolutely be beautiful to see. I don't think the price is stable enough on Bitcoin yet, but they are talking about the move may result in increased inflation and a diminished reliance on the traditional fiat currencies, offering Bitcoin as a viable alternative. The shifting landscape creates a favorable scenario for Bitcoin price forecast as investors may increasingly see it as a hedge against inflation and currency depreciation. Inflation and currency depreciation, one of those two of those things that can happen with the petrodollar being dissolved. Let's kick it back over to Tricam. And OC, you had a scenario that you were talking about where they haven't picked another currency yet. They said we're trying to be open. We're just playing the field. Play that scenario out for the people because your analogy was beautiful.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was telling Piper. He said, "Well, they say that they are accepting everything, right?" And I was, "Yeah, it's just like your ex girlfriend or ex boyfriend, right? Or that said, hey, you know what? We need a break. We need a time apart." And then you go, "Hey, you know what? Are you seeing somebody? Just tell me, right?" And she or he says, "No, I'm saying nobody." And then 1 week after, she is hanging or he is hanging out with that guy or that girl that you suspiciously thought of, right? So I don't know. I think we need to start thinking gold, somebody else's oil,
I love
or some bricks.
gold.
I don't know. Things have been shaking out there, and that alliance on that part of the world have been making some progress on let's just call it socializing around the world.
Yes, exactly, and there is still a chance that they could pick up one of those. Maybe they're waiting for BRICS to establish something, but at the end of the day, it's not good right now for anyone. There's actually going to be a period of time there, where people are trying to get rid of their dollars. Other nations, I shouldn't say people, nations are trying to get rid of their U.S. dollars, and there's just not a good currency exchange market for it because people are going to build. They're going to bake in a depreciation. And so you might actually see people get stuck with U.S. dollars at the end of the day. So shout out to Dave Digital. He said, Piper, just send the extra dollars that they don't want to the burn wallet. Hey, if it was blockchain, I'm just saying. Let's go ahead and jump over and take a look at Bitcoin and see what we're seeing there in Bitcoin.
What if they went to crypto?
What if? You never know. I'm just saying. That's what they were talking about.
There's nothing more universal.
No, and that's what I was talking about on that article. That's what the article was actually referring to, was that there is a possibility, that Bitcoin could come into play here. But like I said before in that segment there, it's not stable enough yet. The price has too much volatility still, and when countries are dealing with their what's that?
Go to a stable coin.
If they use a stable coin, they actually do talk about CBDCs. I think you would see CBDCs picked up and used before they would go with stable coins, unfortunately. But this could actually be a catalyst that pushes CBDCs. So be careful. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here, guys. We had this break, and yesterday morning, about right here, when we were doing the live stream, right after that, it dumped. And I want you guys to see what's going on here on the chart, because we had that triangle breakout that we had back here. We got that nice little break. It pumped up from there and then dumped, did a nice flag, dumped again. Look at what just happened here. And this morning, this was actually a green candle, aka blue on my chart. It is now a red one, and all it was a break below the triangle, a retest, and now we're looking at a possible rejection to the downside of this triangle now, guys. Right now on the Oscillator Pro ribbon, we are looking at being right here at being oversold. So maybe we can get something there. We are looking pretty bad on the RSI, pretty low for upside movement now. But let's go check out the daily and see how these are looking. Because when we look at the daily, guys, we look like we are heading down below the zero line here. We could get a bounce here, but I am betting that we probably get a rejection below this, a break below that, I mean. And then also on the daily, we look at the RSI. Can you go back to the RSI? Thank you. We are still sitting at about the 50% mark. So there is still plenty of downside movement to come today on the daily. We have broken the 786. So we are no longer held in that little pocket of protection of the platinum pocket. Guys, I'm going to be watching for 62,000 down to about 61.5. That would be the dynamic reactor. And this is going to be the area that I'm watching for. If we don't hold that, we're again looking at the golden pocket here between 56 to 59K. That's what I'm seeing there. Let's go ahead and kick it over, because I know TradeFly got that liquidation heat map up. Let's see what you're seeing, bro. And let's talk about these numbers. How are we looking? Is there hope in those charts?
Yeah, so I kind of ruined the surprise already. There was some liquidity sitting down here at 60, what is that, 66,950. So it came down. It already cleared that liquidity out. You can see black spots on the top and the bottom of price action right now. So what does that coincide with? If you go over to the charts, well, you got an area of support right here, time now, where price action is. And you just go back left on the chart, you can see support, come back here. It was resistance. So you can see there's multiple hits, a lot of interaction with this particular area. And you can see that we did have a big pullback after we retested it. So that's one of the things I always look for. You want to see significant action off of a certain area, you got it. So now we're here and we're testing that area. So definitely keep an eye on this area, because if it doesn't hold, you're probably going to see probably some significant downside, and it's probably going to align right where Piper's talking about. So you had your previous value area low of the range, which was right here. It's for whatever reason not loading. I do have this whole range up, but I have it marked, right? So your value area low is at 62.6. And what does that coincide with? The dynamic reactor on the daily. That's a significant area. As you can see, it's been riding this thing up as it's been moving up. So here you can go, tested it. I mean, that test was all the way back in January. And then this one here was in May. So you can see we've been on the top side of this dynamic reactor, looking pretty healthy for quite significant amount of time. So keep that area, I would say, on your radars here. Definitely set an alert. But don't be scared if we end up down here into the support range. We have honored this support range for quite some time. I mean, it goes all the way back, once we had that breakthrough, all the way back to March. All right. So I wouldn't get too concerned. There's two things for you to look at here. All right. One is the support range, and the other is this trend line going up and right. As long as we maintain really those, I would say the trend line is probably the bigger of the two, but I wouldn't freak out. However, we have talked quite a bit about if it goes down. Let me go ahead and pull it up. About the 50K range, if I remember correctly here. Let's see. And it's not even showing up because we need a longer time period. See how this shows up here. There it is. Sweet. So there was a range right here. You had some consolidation before it ultimately moved up and right. But we've been talking about the liquidity that sits down here as well. So again, for those who haven't watched the show, kind of new here, this is a significant area of liquidity. Keep that on your radars. Do not be surprised if it does actually make it all the way back down there. I'm not calling for that right now, just something to keep an eye on long term. I personally have positions set in this area, just waiting for this to get cleared out, because I think that's kind of what we need for that continued movement up and right. But again, that wouldn't be, if you still looked at it, that would be okay if we came down here before and tested this area of support before we saw that continuation up and right. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Again, you're at an area of support, so don't freak out yet. And if it does move down, your next area to look at is 62.6.
Absolutely. And shout out to In and Out Crypto in the chat right now. If you guys looking
Hey.
for the flyest threads and crypto gear, check out the link down below in the description. We've got stuff coming for ourselves here on the show, so we're going to be sporting some drip, some crypto drip here on the show. Shout out to ZTS.
I'm excited for that one.
So take a look over here on my chart, guys. I am actually seeing one thing that gives me some confluence on this daily dynamic reactor, talking about those levels 62K that we just discussed. We're going to go in here. We're going to turn off my low to high to low fibs. Goodbye. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to do a measure pull from the bottom of that wick to the top of this wick. Guys, look at the golden pocket. It's literally landing right inside of the dynamic reactor. That's going to be the level I'm watching for, guys. Looking at these levels on the 618 being 62,400, that 0.66 going to be at about 61.7 to 61.6. So that's going to be that range there that we're looking at for the fibs, the golden fibs right there. That box going to be falling right into the dynamic reactor on the daily. I'm looking for that target. So those that are saying we got to hold 65, we actually don't have much in the range of $65,000 that says that that's the range to hold, man. Besides the psychological number, obviously, that's always at a play. But if we get down there and we wick to 64,237, that would be the 50%, and that would be a continuation of bullish. Speaking of bullish, guys, all you got to do is just go out to a weekly chart, look at the Wallen chart, guys, and we taught the members how to build this on their own, so that they all have this at home in the Discord. So if you're a member, you guys have this. If you don't have this and you're a new member, the next time we do our TA session, which I'll be back from vacation next week, I'll teach you guys how to build this on your chart. And basically all it is the entire history of Bitcoin on Fibonacci channels. And it quit drawing on the chart, man. It is basically Fibonacci channels with horizontals from low to high. And if you take a look at where we are currently on it, man, we're okay. This is it. This is what that sell-off looks like, that little tiny red candle there. So let's go ahead. Let's jump over and talk about one article. I usually do the hopium at the end. I'm going to talk about the hopium now. And then we're going to get into altcoins, guys. So, guys, start dropping those altcoins in the chat. ZTS Rhythm is standing by to get that list together. I saw Ondo. I know Ondo is one of them. If one of you guys want to grab Ondo, and we'll start knocking those out right after this. But, guys, Bitcoin price hits new June lows while open interest is staying above $35 billion. It wobbles further into key U.S. macro events as surging open interest concerns longtime market participants. So, dropped down below $67,000 on June 11th. Right now, it's about that range still. Data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView show new local Bitcoin price lows of 66,696 on Bitstamp, its worst month to date. Having dropped for almost 24 hours in a row, Bitcoin fell to buck the trend on the day as risk assets prepared for a deluge of United States macroeconomic data and that Federal Reserve commentary, referring to Jerome Powell, who's going to be talking tomorrow, guys. Now down 3.6% on the day, getting closer to support. Will be looking to enter longs if a reversal presents itself. Popular trader Roman told subscribers on X, which we just talked about here on our show also. Ultimately, I've been eyeing the 67K support for over a week, so it's about time we're getting close. And he's actually calling on his for a long entry at 64.2, right near the area that we were just talking about on that 50% fib. If we look down here, we knew some downside was possible on Bitcoin. It was hard to open up fresh longs above 70K. Now we're getting into an area that he's more willing to trade. Guys, it's all about patience. So the big thing that I wanted to show you here, on this article, it actually says it's not a big deal. Where is it at? Did I pass it? I may have passed it. Yes, much ado about nothing. they're basically just talking about here that this is just a normal, you can go back to TriCam. This is just a normal ranging period for Bitcoin. If you zoom out from those 15-minute charts, those 1 hour charts, you're going to see that we're just in a consolidation at the top of this range, somewhere between that golden pocket and that platinum pocket that we got rejected out of. I do believe that we are going to see the dynamic reactor hold because in Chart Prime we trust, and I think we're going to be doing okay. So, guys, if you guys got any questions on that, hit us up in the Discord. We'll talk about it more there. But I think summer sideways at the end of the day is what we're going to see, and there's going to be volatility up, volatility down. Macroeconomic data coming out does not help. U.S. dollar being dropped as the petrodollar for Saudi Arabia definitely does not help. But at the end of the day, when you look at the failing banks, 63 banks on the verge of collapse right now, on top of the threat of inflation and so on and so forth, guys, crypto, that Bitcoin fixes that. So let's go ahead and jump into those charts. TradeFly, OC, you got anything, any things to say about this stuff before we jump into some altcoins?
Man, let's get it started, dude. I'm ready.
You got it. Get it. Who wants to go first?
Well, I guess I'll go. All right.
Go. TradeFly.
Let's look at AVAX on the daily. So we did some previous TA on AVAX. You can see the range here with value area high, point of control's value area high is sitting at 42, point of control is sitting at about 36, and value area low is about where we're at right now. So we're finding support right here in that area of about $31 to $32. What do we have directly underneath of us? Kind of, I don't know, we'll call it maybe a little bit of confluence here. You have a trend line acting as support, but you also have the golden pocket. So this is a good area, and we've talked about this before. Don't be surprised if some of these alts come back to the golden pocket, right? They have big moves up, and you think you missed the boat, and next thing you know, here we are again, revisiting the same area. Now, the difference here, we've kind of visited this area a couple times already, and we had some divergence, looked good. That's a nice play. Ride that one up to maybe the 0.5 point of control, probably exit at that point, right? But this is a little bit different, right? We came down and now we found resistance on the dynamic reactor, which is flipped red, and we're coming back down again. But if you come down here and you look at the RSI or the prime oscillator, what you're seeing is kind of a lower, right? I like to see a trend up and right. Well, this time that's not quite what you're seeing. So it gives you a little bit of a pause. I would personally probably like to see a second touch here just for confirmation, and then see that RSI or the prime oscillator start to trend up. So let me draw you some things here. I think I right clicked. There you go. So I would like to see that start trending up, but in conjunction, I would like to see a second touch here and then look for that continuation up and right. However, keep an eye on Bitcoin, all right? Because right now, Bitcoin is obviously kind of dominant. It's driving the market, and you want to keep an eye on that. Look at where it's at, because this is kind of what I did with Matic back in the day. I was looking at the support and the resistance levels of Bitcoin before I ever went to the altcoins that I wanted to trade. So keep an eye on that. If you're kind of stuck in the middle, you're not near an area, a fib or some kind of support level, then be very, very careful about entering a trade. But that being said, Bitcoin's at a support level. AVAX is now at a support level. You know, this is an area that we really, really want to keep an eye on, because there is a potential to enter a long trade at this point, because it has not really gone under the golden pocket since, I mean, really, this, I wouldn't even count this sheet. You didn't even close. This is just a wick. All right. So, I mean, it got into this range. We're going all the way back to December of 2023. So here you go. It could be an opportunity. However, got to be careful, because FOMC, POW, all that good stuff. If you do get into a long trade here, and not financial advice, but what are you going to do? Set a stop loss, right? Because if it breaks down, you can see it's coming all the way down to the platinum pocket, and that's your next area of support. So right now, it's an area to look at for AVAX. I will say that I am interested in it at about this price right here. And then at the high side, you know, it just depends on how you want to play. You holding this long term? For me, I kind of like swing trades personally. Point of control, there's all kinds of confluence here. Point of control, 0.5, and the dynamic reactor all in the area of $36 to about $37. That would be what I would look for in terms of a move. So that is what I got for AVAX.
Awesome. OC, let's kick it over to you, and I will be right back. I got somebody at my hotel room door. So,
Absolutely. So take a look at Ondo very quick. So we were taking a look at a couple of days ago of this ongoing pattern, right? Where we have right here an uprising movement, right? Where we build up this bullish pattern, this bullish flag, and then ended up breaking to the upside, right? If we start measuring the breaks out, they kind of like align with each other. So the last thing that we were talking about was also that instead of going out and down to make the bullish flag, we were going out and up, right? Basically making a up-ranging channel. The difference with an up-ranging channel and down-ranging channel is that usually we break to the downside. So remember, we were talking about this, not about the breakout. It's about the retest. And guess what? Look at that beautiful 4-hour dynamic reactor hit for once for your not only short but also for your long, and off we go. So far we also break to the seal line right down here, so we are pretty bearish. All right, we're not that bad on Ondo, although if we compare that, we have had a fall of around 17%, right? That might look like a lot, but if we compare to the way that we were moving upward, we also can see that we were around 30% per movements to the upside, right? So it's not that bad yet. The only thing that I want to consider, it is the possibility that we break below the dynamic reactor and we get stuck below it. Why? Because if we get at our dynamic market dynamics probe, we can see that we have a ton more of resistances at the top than we have support at the bottom. Yes, it is true that the biggest of them all, which is the dynamic reactor, it's at the bottom, but still might not hold. Why? Because we are below the zero line. I'll start looking for a movement to the upside, and when we start breaking through that zero line back above again, I'll be started looking for movements to the upside once again. Other than that, turning it back to you guys.
awesome. Let's jump over to my chart. I got chain link up here. We're going to take a look at that real fast, and then we had a request. We got some more requests in here, guys. So take a look at the Discord, and we'll grab that. That's for TradeFly and OC, guys. Look at it. Chain link here. Again, we've had these two ranges, these trade ranges that we trade in, and that's what Chainlink likes to do a lot. It likes to find a range and it will trade in it. And we went back down after being in this top range here. We went back down into this bottom range. We broke back out of it again, getting a nice bounce off that dynamic reactor, and now we are back in this lower range here. I am going to go ahead and just put out that I think we're going down to $13.13 on Chainlink. Why do I think that? If I jump over here and I turn on our fibs, guys, that's the golden pocket. It's the 618 $13.13. It has been our support numerous times in this range down here, this golden pocket. That bottom side of that golden pocket, by the way, coming in at about $12.50. So that is what I'm going to be watching for there on Chainlink. If we go ahead, pull up on the daily oscillators that we're looking at here, it does look like we do have a continuation wave on the Oscillator Pro ribbon, and we are still getting decent sized Heikin-Ashi candles to the downside there on RSI primed, and it can still go quite a bit lower. So that would put us in that range, golden pocket, bottom of this trade channel that we had been in for many times before. We were in this thing for, let's see here, November 8th all the way through February. So almost 4 months we had that range there. We're back in it again. Watch for that to be our range. Golden pocket, again, $13.13, $12.50 on the bottom side for that target. Let's go ahead and kick it back to TradeFly.
Right on. Yeah, kind of looking at ICP on the daily right now. It looks very similar to AVAX, to be honest with you. Eerily similar pattern here. Not quite a head and shoulders, but kind of head and shoulder-ish. I mean, you could argue that it is, but I would hate to see that play out. What are we looking at, though? So if we go from range low to range high here, opportunity for a bounce. You got the golden pocket here. You do have an area of support. It's kind of a wide area. You see multiple hits coming down. So it's kind of a wide area of support, I'll say. All the way from 10 to probably about 9, you can find some support. But if you look at the last significant range, which it didn't stay there too long, but you can see there's a range right here from about 8 to, we'll call it about $10 or so. There's definitely an opportunity to come down here and find support. What you got to be careful of is if it loses this area, the golden pocket, then you're probably going to have some pretty good downside. That your last hope really is the bottom of this, and then you would come down to here and kind of look at where was there resistance. You can see right here there was definitely some resistance, so you might have a pit stop there. But I mean, more likely, actually, you know what I'm going to do here? Let's go to the weekly and look at this with my chemtrails. Send those things. Let's go. Let's see what we're seeing on this. Full send, baby. All right. Man, that did not help a whole lot, to be honest with you, on the weekly. That's all the way down here. So let's look at it on the daily.
You're telling me all those airplanes flying over didn't hardly do anything for you? What are you, Iran now?
Yeah, well, I cannot speak of anything Iran. So, yeah, so we had some support here. You can see there's a lot of volume associated with this area as well. So that's actually a good sign. So you got a lot of volume coming in, which, that has a lot to do with some of the previous hits of support. But yeah, golden pocket is really the area you're going to be looking at for a bounce. And I think really the bottom part of this range right here is a nice opportunity, but you can find support anywhere in this range. And that's really what you're hanging on to. I think if it doesn't hold that range, coming down and starting to look at the volume, it looks like there's a small bit of volume here. Let me go back. It doesn't even actually go all the way left. So yeah, you're probably going to revisit the platinum pocket if it falls through. So be careful here, but also potentially an opportunity to add to the bags here, the golden pocket.
What's that price?
Bottom side of that is $9 and about 17 cents. It could go a little bit further down, but where I have the golden pocket would be where I'd look for that bounce. So anywhere between 9.7 and 9.17 could be an opportunity.
Crypto Pollo said that 0.65 is he said that 0.65 is his that's distribution, so that's his target. So
that makes sense.
Yep.
Definitely makes sense.
That makes great sense. Shout out to Crypto Pollo, man. Cluck cluck. Love that dude.
Yeah, you just gotta be careful, man. The trend is not very pretty right now. It's an obvious downtrend. So this is where I always get concerned, and this is what I always say. Like, I like to see that secondary bounce because that gives you further confirmation that, okay, this area might hold up. And then again, as I always point out, is this trend, like, yeah, we're seeing oversold right now. We're seeing a reversal. That's all good and well. But what I would like to see is, like, look at this one, right? You get the bounce here, strike here. Get the bounce here, strike here. But what do you see? Trending up and right. And you got that green mark, which is indicating divergence, right? So you're looking for that strength, the relative strength, really to start increasing on that second bounce. And that makes you feel a little bit more cozy, right? And then for me, I talk about this a lot of times, I like just going up to your next significant level of resistance and then you're out. That's pretty much how I like to trade. So anyways, just want to point that out to you guys.
Awesome. And Crypto Pollo made a comment, or go back to Tricam real fast, and then we'll come back to OC. He's got some more TA. He said that all of the alts are just absolutely they're at lower levels now than what they were at when Bitcoin was at 52K. So they're lower now than what they were months ago. And we talked about it here on the show not too long ago that only 8 altcoins have made new all-time highs along with Bitcoin, guys. So alt season definitely not here yet.
Never happened.
No,
it never happened. There was whack-a-mole on some of the meme tokens, like some of those really took off. But I mean, that's just community driven and people just degening in, and once community gets behind a meme token, those things can just skyrocket pretty easily because they don't have a lot of capital. They're low cap. But yeah, I've been pointing this out to a lot of people. I'm like, go back, for the love of God. Look at Bitcoin, where it was at when it was pushing up to the all-time high or just after the all-time high, when you really truly had an alt season and you saw some of those coins take off. And then look at what price they were at that point in time. Like, so if you look at Bitcoin in comparison to Cardano ADA where it was at. I mean, you were talking about $3.26 per Cardano. Look at it now.
Yep.
It's 40 cents. And even
Yeah, absolutely.
when Bitcoin hit its all-time high, where was Cardano at? It was still like what, 70 cents?
Yeah,
Like
I think
I mean,
when you really look at it, if we are still on a 4-year cycle, if this Bitcoin cycle is still occurring, which I'm heavily invested in it at this point, still, I do believe this is the case that we still have a 4-year cycle that's going to occur. Much love to Randy Hipper, counterpointing what she says, but I still think we are in it. If that is the case, guys, you're still way early in on those altcoins, and this
on the
that's why I'm
altcoins.
setting up
Yeah.
those altcoins. That's why I'm still dollar cost averaging some entries on recurring buys for those. Let's go ahead and jump over to that chart that you got there, OC, and let's see what you're working with, man.
Absolutely. I'm looking at algo, and also I was discussing something with CryptoPollo. He says, I really want to see a BOS breakout structure for 4 hour at this point. So here's the thing, because I might be looking the other way around when talking about this breakout structure. That's a very interesting take, and I want to discuss that with CryptoPollo. So let me know if I'm looking this the other way around, or you also are looking at this the way that I am. So the point in here it is that, for example, in algo, we've been ranging for so long, right? And so far, right now, we are at basically previous lows. In fact, we are just basically going below previous lows, technically going for that weak area, right? How do we measure maybe the last area of support? Well, we can bring up our automatic support and resistances and also look for the outcome volume or the deficit. So we start looking at possible entries right here and maybe right down there. If we zoom out a little bit more to integrate this whole other part in the equation from the on the volume, let's just wait a little bit for it. We might have a little bit more of an extension. There we go. And that could give us the next most important area on the will be at 0.12. All right. So the thing in here, and let me just remove everything, it is that we are ranging as we have seen, right? So the breakout structure for me will be basically I'm breaking the range up here. So have a BOS breakout structure and then a continuation to the upside to then breakout retest and off we go, since we are on lower lows. Although the other way around could be breaking the actual structure, which will not be a BOS, but maybe a change of character, which gonna be breaking to the downside, maybe making a lower high, right? And then going or keep going downwards. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure which one of those you're looking at, but those are pretty interesting for me and my take. I'll be calling for, I would love to see a bouncing here. I'll be waiting for the flip of the ribbon to start jumping into the longs. Why? Because we are at previous lows, right? Again, I'm not going full 100%. I'm not doing any crazy leverage, since these are dangerous zones, because we just printed a strong signal. We are pretty bearish. Well, then I also moving cautiously, right, or with caution right now. So yeah, that's what I see on algo.
Sweet. Let's jump over to my chart. I got render, and I'm going to do a quick snap on this one, and then I'm going to do a quick pitch on a clean spark, and then we'll pass it back around to TradeFly, probably rounding it out so we can get to some show closing and talk about what's coming up this week, guys. So looking here at render, we are breaking that dynamic reactor currently as we speak, coming down off of that. My target here has been this green box for a while, sitting right here in the middle of the golden pocket. That is where I think I'm going to be looking to pick up some more render. That price, guys, coming in at about $7.42 to $7. So $7.50 to $7 is my buy point. We are starting to get the over sold down here in the oscillator ribbon, or RSI primed, I should say, is looking pretty poised right now to start getting some curvature. We push down into that box there on render, not financial advice. That's my buy point, $7 to $7.50. Let's jump over here, take a look at clean spark. My white trend line that I've had here for a hot minute, $13.85, coming in right now. It was at the top of the dynamic reactor. We just touched the dynamic reactor, losing our green box here in golden pocket. I'm going to be watching 1385 here on clean spark for support. It was a previous range that we had one test here on the daily, one test here in the daily. Matter of fact, if we break this down to the 4 hours, probably multiple in there. Yeah, there was multiple candles there that hit it, and then back here it was multiple candles that hit it too. So $13.85 is the range that I will be watching for if you're looking to start some dollar cost average on some clean spark stock. But if it breaks that level, guys, watch for $12.65. That is the 50% Fibonacci. Cannot ignore that level. Let's go ahead and kick it over and see what TradeFi is working.
Right on. Taking a quick look at Gala, you're pretty much right at an area of support. If you look back left on the chart, you can see it: resistance, 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 and support, support, support. So that is sitting currently time now at about 0.036. Maybe as far down as 0.035 where current price action is. It's always going to be a little bit of a range. We've broken through this. I can get rid of that, clean up the chart a little bit. You're on the bottom side of the dynamic reactor. You can see the dynamic reactor has flipped red, and it's just trending down and right. You got market dumps, prime scores of 1. Just not looking super pretty, to be honest with you, but there is hope right here, pretty much where we're at, and you are seeing oversold on the prime oscillator. So don't be surprised to see a bounce. If you see continuation of downside movement, then you're looking at about 2.6, I would say, right around there. And that does align with an area that I had identified before, and that was both support and resistance at different points here. So that's kind of two significant areas for you to look for. If it does get a bounce here, then you got the dynamic reactor. We know how that's been playing out, but look at the range here. This is a very, very clear range for Gala, and it's just kind of pogoing back and forth. So if it maintains this range, do not be surprised if you see some movement all the way back up here to about, we'll call it 5 cents. And so there is what you should be looking for there. So it seems a lot of things are really lining up where you're seeing pretty consistently throughout some of these altcoins that we're finding them being right at areas of support. So very interesting to see how most of these altcoins are starting to align in conjunction with Bitcoin being at an area of support as well. So Crux Crypto, I'm going to keep this one super, super quick, man. Mark this on your chart. This is the 618. I would probably do it at 0.014. Mark that on your chart. You could see a bounce or some kind of price action for not if we continue to pull back. Again, swing trader, I like to let it come to me. And you can see right here, there was some resistance before it ultimately took off. So that's an area that I would be keying on personally if you're looking at potentially adding to your bag or not.
Sweet. Let's go ahead and jump over back to the TriCam, and let's talk it out here. I just had to set up for our automatic redirect so we can go raid our frat house mom over there. That would be Randy Hippers right after the show. Guys, look, we've got a lot of volatility coming. We know this. All that data is coming out tomorrow morning. CPI, we're going to be getting inflation data right before the FOMC. FOMC is coming out about noon. About 2 o'clock, I should say, and then at 2:30, this is all Eastern Standard Time, Jerome Powell is going to be talking, and what he says is going to be gospel for the markets and sentiment. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. At the end of the day, though, guys, we're still early. The market, as I showed you on the chart, we're still at the top on the weekly chart. We could drop technically all the way down to $55,000 and still be in a bullish pattern for Bitcoin. Are altcoins going to get hurt? Absolutely. But that's just opportunity. So that's why we talk about saving dry powder for times like that. And if you're not over leveraged on a trade or you're using the stop loss, then you'll close it out. You'll take a minor little scalp off of your account and you'll be ready to engage when those numbers start to reverse. So that is what is important there. The catalyst for Bitcoin to break 71K, shout out to DB Cooper. This is answering your question. The catalyst would be that we need to see a balance out of the economy Right now, we're getting rising inflation and we've got weakening labor force. We need to get that balance back in line. That's really what's going to have to happen to make the markets truly get into a bullish continuation pattern. So Friday, guys, we did not get into the giveaway last Friday because I was on the road. TradeFly and OC were doing the show. We're doing the giveaway this Friday. I will be back home at the Piper Academy studio. So I will be doing the show from there. We're going to have that list put together on Thursday night. Shout out to Crux Crypto pulling all of that data for me. Friday, we're going to do the giveaway. I believe we're giving away Ondo this month. So we're going to be giving away some Ondo. And then also Friday, guys, on Friday, special guest, Alex O Crypto in the house. He's going to be joining us for that giveaway day. So it's going to be a great show. I want everyone to join us here for that. TradeFly, OC, you got anything for the people on the way out? TradeFly, when you go first, what you got?
Hey, as always, it's great mixing up with you guys. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for showing some love. And hey, if you liked it, you enjoyed it today, if you're new here, go ahead, give us a like and subscribe. We would really appreciate that because we are growing. And I'm biased, but I think we're one of the top crypto morning shows. That's just my own thoughts here. But yeah, I'll go ahead and pass it over to OC because I'm sure he's going to tell you if you smash the likes, something crazy is about to happen.
Absolutely. You wouldn't guess what is it. Guys, thank you so much for joining. I remind you to click that like button because when you do, some magical stuff happen. I just found out that if you click that like button, you will be able to do some white laundry with red laundry. Don't believe me? Try it out for yourself and see how pretty things turn out.
Cap. How about this one? If you click the like button, subscribe, and share this with a friend, Saudi Arabia will pick up the US dollar as the petrol cash reserve again.
Oh man, that sounds fantastic.
All right, guys, we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the news, the charts, and the markets, and everything you need to have knowledge because knowledge is profit. It's time to go raid Randy Hipper's show, guys. Go in there, drop those graduation caps, throw them around, and let them know that the Academy is in the house, guys. We'll catch you here tomorrow. Until then, trade safe or not at all. And if you do, for God's sake, use a stop loss.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels flow low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul train ready. What a line from OCI, from a Mexican spaghetti. Yo, Crux Crypto with a deep dive to project dime. And if you like the visual powered by Tar Prime, then you were part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels flow low. Sound off. To get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean?
That was awesome, dude!